What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing back at you again. Today's topic: Ldbc cheating accusations and unhinged conspiracy theories has ended up costing Wilder his Trilogy fight. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life you for riches, huh? That life you for riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fan, let's talk some boxing today. All right, so we're gonna talk about the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury trilogy that was supposed to happen. That's not going to happen now. It looks like, based on the latest reporting. So as far as we are hearing, the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight is definitely going to be on. Look like they supposedly has found a location to have the fight, and basically the fight is on schedule to happen as far as we know. Now, naturally, this has caused a lot of weeping and moaning in Ldbc La La Land. Okay, you all know that there's been a lot of unhinged conspiracy theories going on about the second fight and the first fight, to be exact, and that a lot of excuses have came out as to why Deontay lost that second fight. And we've had many people out there in the YTBC community who have been basically pushing these rumors, conspiracy theories, and all sorts of wild stories, about the fight. And we all know who these are the usual suspects are. I mean, there's been a lot of them, but two of the main proponents of these conspiracy theories has been Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and that's Blue Blood Sports and Phantom Boxing. Okay, now we haven't heard anything from Phantom Boxing in quite a while now. It looks like the people in white coats probably finally caught him, and he probably plotting his escape from the latest mental institution as we speak. But that be as it may, you know, after the reports came out that the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, has it's definitely looked like it's gonna be on 95%. We're hearing, done. Like I said, there's been a lot of weeping and moaning in La La Land. Okay, Ldbc La La Land. I mean, they're what happened? They don't know what. All of a sudden, they don't know what happened. You know, because as you know, they've been saying that the fight with Joshua and Fury was never going to happen because Deontay Wilder was going to stop the fight from happening. Okay, that was the fervent wish of a lot of these guys that somehow or the other Deontay Wilder was going to be able to stop that fight from happening, whether through uh, you know uh, court case or mediation or whatever. They were saying that, oh yes, Deontay Wilder definitely have proof of cheating, and he was going to bring forth this proof in a court case. Okay, and all of none of that actually happened, and we all saw when Deontay Wilder came out and spoke, finally came out and spoke after months of silence on the whole issue. He basically just regurgitated the same old videos that these Ldbc guys have been, pushing for months. He basically showed some of the same videos, and that was his proof. Okay, so I mean, it's so he never really came out with any proof of the cheating. Okay, he just basically, like I said, showed the same videos that these guys have been showing for months. Floppy gloves and whatever. Uh, you know, I mean, we all know the different accusations. There were, first it was the heavy suit, then the floppy gloves, which actually was in the first fight. Okay, then it was the water, the poison water. That supposedly Deontay Wilder's trainer Mark Breland poisoned his water or put something in his water. Then it was the referees. Okay, the referee was biased against him, even though the referee in the fight actually took points away from Tyson Fury. And not Deontay Wilder in the fight. So I mean, I guess the referee that was supposedly biased against Deontay Wilder took points away from Tyson Fury in that fight. So I mean, how you can say that the referee is biased when he actually took points away from Tyson Fury? I don't know. Maybe he did that, so people wouldn't catch on to his bias. Okay, So I mean, it's been crazy. Okay, it's been a crazy year in boxing, and nothing has been crazier than this whole Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury, scenario. I mean, okay. So naturally, now that the fight between Joshua and Fury looks like it's definitely going to happen, there's a lot of recriminations over there in La La Land from these guys. They can't understand, why the fight is happening. Because why hasn't Deontay Wilder stopped the fight? I mean, now they're coming out and, asking all kind of questions, and then the latest, has been the fact that Bernard Hopkins, was asked on Fight Hub about the fight, about the excuses that Deontay Wilder was making, and I mean, he basically told the truth. I mean, he basically said, "Hey, I mean, if you lose a fight," he said, he talked about his losses, which is like he had 8 losses in the record, and he talked about that when you lose, instead of making excuses, you go back to the gym and you work harder, and then you come back out and try to get your, bring yourself back up in the rankings and try to do what you need, do what needs to be done to bring yourself back. And that's what he basically said that. And so because he said that, okay, now he's a traitor. Okay, all these blue blood sports out there talking about, oh, Mr. B Hop, how can he say that? How can he say something like that? He lost, and when he lost, he to Roy Jones, he wanted to get a rematch. Okay, he campaigned for a rematch. Okay, so what is he saying that that Deontay doesn't deserve a rematch? So now they try to compare B Hop, that's Bernard Hopkins, to Deontay Wilder. Like when he lost, and because people are saying that the loss against Deontay Wilder, the loss against Fury by Deontay Wilder was so one-sided. Some people are saying this, that they don't need to be a rematch. Okay, that's what some people are saying. Okay, and Bernard Hopkins made some allusion to that. Like, yeah, well, it was such a one-sided loss. I mean, he needs to just go back to the gym and do it, build himself up and work, work his way back. He didn't say that he couldn't get a trilogy fight with Fury. He just said that Deontay Wilder had to get back in the gym and get back to his grind. Okay, but no, that wasn't enough for these people. They now all of a sudden now you had Blue Blood Sports over there talking about, oh, well, I don't understand, how could he say that, because when he lost to Roy Jones, he wanted to come back, he wanted to get a fight. He wanted to fight, a rematch. He campaigned for a rematch. And he lost to Jermaine Taylor, and he wanted a rematch against Jermaine Taylor, and he lost that fight very badly. So how can he say that? Well, I mean, the problem is this. The difference between Bernard Hopkins losing and Deontay Wilder losing and campaigning for a rematch is that Bernard Taylor didn't say that it was his manager that poisoned his water. Bernard Hopkins didn't say that his suit was too heavy. Bernard Hopkins didn't say that the referee was biased. Okay? Bernard Hopkins didn't make any excuses. He just basically went back to the gym, got back on his grind, and worked his way back up and campaigned his way back up to get a rematch. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, see, they don't seem to understand this. Okay, uh, I mean, look at Anthony Joshua. I mean, he look at the loss that he had. It was a terrible loss against Andy Ruiz. Did he blame it on anybody? He could have blamed it on somebody. A lot of people would have believed him. He could have blamed it on this, that. He could have said he wasn't feeling, whatever. He could have come up with all kind of excuses. But did he come up with any excuses? No. He held up Andy Ruiz's hand at every opportunity that he got. He said Andy Ruiz won the fight fair and square. It was a great fight, and that Andy Ruiz was the better man. Okay. He'd tell that to anybody that would listen to it. Okay. He congratulated Andy Ruiz, every chance he got. And he went back to the gym, worked on his craft, and came back and got the rematch. And then he won the fight. See, that's how you handle something like when you lose. This is how you handle a loss. You don't make up excuses or listen to conspiracy theories by people on YouTube who don't know what they're talking about, basically. Okay. And now that these same people that you're listening to has end up costing you the fight. That's basically what has happened. These Ldbc guys, like I said, with Phantom Boxing and Blue Blood Sports leading the pack, they've basically cost Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, his trilogy match with Tyson Fury. Okay? With by spouting these wild, just think about it for a minute. Mark Breland poisoned his water. The referees were biased. Okay. Weights in the gloves. At the end of the day, man, we got to realize that, all these, all these theories and all these, and don't forget, nobody has come up with any proof of any of this. Okay. Not one iota of proof has come forth. Okay. But Deontay Wilder ends up riding with all these excuses. Okay. Co-signing these excuses. Okay. Instead of going back into the gym and working on his craft, he's out there, now I'm not saying that Tyson Fury, is necessarily above cheating. Okay, we have seen that he had some issues with drug abuse, and he's been accused of PED use, and just like many other boxers have, like CARNE-LO, for example, and like a couple other guys, Big Baby Miller, a lot of guys in boxing resort to these type of things. Okay, in an effort to give themselves an unfair advantage. Okay, so now if that was the only excuse, or that was the only accusation against Tyson Fury, because I haven't seen that one necessarily. Okay, that Tyson Fury was using PEDs, which is probably would be the most likely scenario in what I would think. Okay, but they in the fight they both got tested after the fight and he came up clean, so they can't really use that. But that would have been the more likely scenario for me if I was to say, well, Tyson Fury cheated, but but again, they both was drug tested after the fight and he came up clean, so you can't say that he used PEDs in the fight. Can he use PEDs without being detected? Maybe it's possible. We don't know. But that would be the route that I would have went if I was saying there was something wrong with the fight. But anyway, the bottom line is that, like I said, he got tested and nobody could find any PEDs. But the idea that Mark Breland would poison Deontay Wilder's water, his own fighter, just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, we gotta really keep that real. These guys have maligned Mark Breland's career as a trainer. Guy's been training Deontay Wilder for years. Olympic winner Mark Breland. these guys just threw him under the bus, claiming that I mean, just think about that for a minute. He poisoned Deontay Wilder. What would he gain from doing that? I mean, what kind of money could he have gotten for doing something like that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why? I mean, if you're gonna say somebody poisoned your water, why pick Mark Breland? Say that Mark Breland did it. Okay, I just don't get that. Okay, the idea that the referees, had something that the judges. I mean, so the suit was too heavy. Mark Breland poisoned the water. The referee was bought and paid for. So all of these things was put in place, okay, just so that Tyson Fury could win the fight. So these are the kind of like I said, unhinged conspiracy theories that basically cost Deontay Wilder the fight. And so we're seeing how this has been playing out, and the end result of that is that supposedly they're going to file for arbitration now. The mediation is over with. Now they're going to file for arbitration, and who knows what's going to happen. They're out there saying that, this arbitration is going to take 6 months, and it's going to take a long time. Like, as if they're thinking, that this is what these Ldbc people are talking about. Blue Blood Sports, to be exact, saying that it's going to take a long time, and this, that, like, as if to say, well, they're gonna be able to delay the Joshua Fury fight, but not like that's gonna happen. No matter how long the arbitration takes, the fight is gonna continue regardless. Okay, and so we'll wait. If indeed the arbitration is filed, it might not even be filed, because as far as we know, it hasn't been filed yet. They're just talking about doing that. Okay, but you got to pay lawyers, and you got to pay people to do all of that. So if they're gonna file that, they're gonna pay a lawyer to go down another dead end road. Okay, who's gonna pay the lawyer to do all that? Okay, Ldbc, Blue Blood Sports, Fan Boxing. So but they want him to continue to fight to the bitter end, supposedly, in a losing battle, against basically stopping the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight. Okay, now reports have come out that Deontay Wilder is gonna end up fighting Charles Martin, okay, in his comeback fight. Okay, so at the end of the day, after all of this conspiracy theories, he still had to go back to the gym, and he still have to go back and do a comeback fight and try to work his way back up the ladder again. Okay, so all of this talk and all of this conspiracy talk didn't help him in one bit. He's still gonna have to basically go back to the the end of the line and come back again. Okay, and work his way up, and which is what he's gonna do against Charles Martin. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Charles Martin was one of the guys that Anthony Joshua beat to get a title. Okay, he took a title off unified against Charles Martin, and he won that fight. Okay. Now, Charles Martin and Deontay Wilder should be an interesting fight. I mean, I would think that Deontay Wilder should win that fight. Okay. Charles Martin is a guy that gets hit, and he's not the best defensive guy in the world. Okay. And so, if you don't have good defense against Deontay Wilder, you're gonna get touched by that right hand, and it's gonna be, good night, Irene. So I would think that Deontay Wilder should be able to stop Charles Martin. So I don't think Charles Martin should be a threat to Deontay Wilder. But you never know. Maybe he might, maybe that Tyson Fury has laid out the blueprint on how to beat Deontay Wilder. He might be able to take up the blueprint and read it. Okay, we don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But that should be an interesting fight. Now, one of the things about this conspiracy and about the whole Deontay Wilder situation, one of the things that these guys always refer to, and that always gets me, is they always say, oh well, Deontay Wilder, you know, in the goodness of his heart, okay, because he's such a good guy, such a great guy, okay, you know, in the goodness of his heart, he took Tyson Fury off of the couch, okay, and brought him back, resurrected his career. I mean, these guys are out of their minds. I mean, just think about that for a minute. So, Shelly Finkel, you know, and Deontay Wilder, let's just imagine this, okay? Shelly Finkel and Deontay Wilder decided, okay, who's our next fight gonna be? And then, you know, Deontay Wilder goes, well, you know what, Shelly, you know, the most important, I think we should, you know, try to find, I think we should try and resurrect Tyson Fury. We see Tyson Fury, you know, he's on the couch. Let's do the right thing. Let's be, you know, ambassadors of boxing. Let's go and try to resurrect Tyson Fury's career. Okay, what do you think about that, Shelly? And Shelly probably says, "Oh yeah, sure, Deontay. I think that's a great sentiment. I think that's what we should do. I think we should, you know, try to resurrect, you know, Tyson Fury's career because it's the right thing to do, right? It's the right thing to do, Deontay. I'm with you 100% on that, man. Yeah, let's do that. We're not, you know, we're not trying to further our career. You know, we're not interested in that. We're gonna try and let's resurrect Tyson Fury's career because that's the right thing to do, right, Deontay? And Deontay said, yeah, Shelly. You know, I'm glad you agree with me, man. That's what I you know, in my, you know, that's what I want to do. I really want to, you know, get Tyson Fury up the couch, and I really want to, you know, resurrect his career because that's the right thing to do. So, I mean, when you listen to these guys, you think that's what happened, okay? That, you know, that's all, that was his main concern was to resurrect Tyson Fury, okay? It wasn't to further his career or to make money or anything like that. You know, he just wanted to be a nice guy. He just, you know, wanted to get Tyson Fury off the couch, you know? Now, you know, for those of you who don't know, after winning the title from Klitschko, Tyson Fury basically never defended the title. He had, you know, he had all the belts except for the WBC, okay, and he basically spiraled out of control through drug use, alcoholism, and, you know, so-called supposedly mental illness, and, you know, he basically, you know, careened out of control and ended up, you know, losing all the titles, and, you know, went into a depression, and, you know, for whatever reason, we all don't know why all this happened to him, but, you know, he was in a bad place, so to speak, and, you know, he was home, like weighing out like 400 pounds, you know, out overweight, drinking, taking drugs. I mean, we all seen the reports, okay, and he's even spoken on it himself, okay, so, you know, I even did a video on that back then, okay, about, you know, what happened with Tyson Fury. You can look in check my videos and go back and see it. I spoke about it. I actually said that Tyson Fury needs to shut up, stop running his mouth, okay, because he was sitting on the sidelines talking about, I'm the lineal champ, I'm the champ, I'm the champ, okay. All these guys are fakes, you know, while he was drinking, smoking, eating his way into obesity, okay. And I basically put out a video saying that, you know, he needs to shut up, and that, you know, he needs to get back in the gym instead of talking while other guys out there actually fighting. He needs to get back in the gym and, you know, get himself together and stop running his mouth, okay? And, you know, I thought that he would, I had said that he could probably get back in the gym and work his way back up, but he wouldn't make it back until maybe 2021 because he was just too, you know, out of shape, you know, he had too many issues. So I didn't think he would be ready before 2021. But, you know, lo and behold, he decided to get back in the gym. He had a couple of tune-up fights, and then next thing you know, he was fighting Deontay Wilder. Now, I thought that was too early. I didn't think he was ready to fight Deontay Wilder at the time. Okay. I thought that, you know, he was too out of shape. And a lot of people thought that, including his own father. Okay, Deontay Wilder's own dad, Tyson Fury's own dad was saying he wasn't really ready yet, and he shouldn't fight Deontay Wilder. But we all know what happened, okay? So this was the guy that Deontay Wilder picked for his fight. Okay, now, as you know, reports have come out and said, and even Deontay Wilder has came out and said that he could have had a fight with Anthony Joshua when all that thing was going back and forth between him and Anthony Joshua, and everybody was saying Anthony Joshua was ducking him, this, that, and the other. But it came out later that, and from no other source than Deontay Wilder himself, that he could have had a fight with Anthony Joshua for more money, but instead he fought Tyson Fury instead. Okay, I mean, this came directly from Deontay Wilder's mouth. He said that. Okay, but yet still these guys, you know, out here in the Ldbc are still talking about Deontay Wilder and how Anthony Joshua ducked Deontay Wilder, even though, you know, Deontay Wilder himself has said that he was the one that made the decision not to have that fight because he wanted to fight Tyson Fury instead. Okay, but you know, these guys don't let facts stand in their way, you know, of running their narrative. They're gonna push the narrative regardless. All right, so why did Deontay Wilder fight Tyson Fury? Okay, why would Deontay Wilder, you know, as he says, resurrect Tyson Fury from obscurity, okay, and you know, fight with him the first time? Was it because he was such a great guy and that's the thing he wanted to do? Is that what boxers do? They go around looking for people to resurrect or looking for people to do good deeds. You know, is that what you do as a boxer when you're plotting about what fight you're gonna have and how you're gonna move yourself forward? Is that what happens? Of course not. Okay, a lot of guys, they look for the weakest link. Okay, and they go the road, you know, with the least obstacles, and they take that road. So you know, that's what happened with the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. All this talk about Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder resurrected from the couch is just nonsense. Okay, I mean, pure bullshit. Okay, these guys need to just stop that foolishness. Stop saying that. Okay, because it's ridiculous. Okay, they're appealing to Tyson Fury's morals, saying, "Oh, well, Deontay Wilder gave him a chance, so now he should give Deontay Wilder." But how you appealing to a guy's morals? You're appealing to the morality of Tyson Fury, and you say, and in the next breath you say he has no morality because he's a cheater, he's this, he's that, he's a scumbag, he's this and that. But yet still you want to appeal to his morality. I mean, the whole idea is so ridiculous. Okay, I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, these people have no damn sense whatsoever. Okay, you're saying that Tyson Fury has no morals, but you're appealing to his morality anyway. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's laughable. Okay, but anyway, so Deontay Wilder decided that he's gonna fight Tyson Fury. Well, why would he decide something like that? Okay, why would he decide to fight a guy who, you know, I just had two tune-up fights, you know, big, still overweight, still doesn't look like he's ready for the prime time? Why would you do that? It definitely wasn't because you were feeling sorry for Tyson. You don't know Tyson Fury. It's not because you were feeling sorry for him why you decided to go and take that fight. You took that fight because you and your manager, you know, Shelley Finkel, who, you know, has been handling Deontay Wilder's career and hasn't really done such a spectacular job, okay, of that, okay, decide that, okay, instead of fighting Anthony Joshua, we're going to go ahead and fight Tyson Fury because that's an easier way to get to, you know, where we want to go. Tyson Fury got a name, okay. You know, there's money in going to that route. I mean, there's some good money there probably. We can, you know, fight Tyson Fury, beat him, and then maybe, you know, fight Anthony Joshua next, okay? I mean, I don't know exactly what they were thinking when they decided to fight Tyson Fury, but I would think that would be, you know, part of the whole scenario in, you know, in terms of, you know, they figure they get an easy fight against a guy who's, you know, almost 400 pounds, overweight, you know, but still has some kind of cash. He still has a name, okay? After all, he was still a lineal champion, you know, it's Tyson Fury. And if they get a win over Tyson Fury, that'll put him in a good position, okay? Because at the end of the day, who has they been fighting up until then? Nobody's. Okay, I mean, you know, when we talk about, you know, Deontay Wilder's, you know, record and his, you know, his title defenses and all that, you know, we have to look at who he's been fighting previous to Tyson Fury. Okay, even though Tyson Fury was old, you know, was like out of shape and drinking and drugging and this and the other, and you know, was out of the game for like 2 years, he was still a bigger name than anybody Deontay Wilder has fought up until that point. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Tyson Fury was the biggest name that Deontay Wilder has ever fought in his whole career. Okay, let's be clear about that. Okay, and the most money he has made in his whole career was against Tyson Fury. Let's be clear about that. Okay, so these are the reasons why he actually picked Tyson Fury. It would be an easy fight. He would get a name opponent on his record, and he would make more money. That's basically what happened. All this talk about, you know, him resurrecting, you know, Tyson Fury, about him, you know, doing the right thing and all this, it's all just nonsense. I mean, let's, you know, in this type of thing, we got to go to the videotape, okay? And so, I mean, not a little videotape, but we got to go to the record, look at the record and see what you know, what was going on at the time. You know, let's look at Wilder's record, okay? Let's take a look at it. Okay, Deontay Wilder career earning payouts. Let's look at, you know, how much money he was making and, you know, what decision led him to fighting Tyson Fury. In his first fight, you know, for the title, there you see him. He fought Bermane Stavern. He got $1 million. 50% of the pay-per-view was split. Okay, $1 million. So against Eric Molina, another fight in 2015, he got $1.4 million. Johan Duhaupas, he got $1.5 million. Okay, Arthur Spilker, $1.5 million. Now this guy's a heavyweight, the heavyweight champion in the world. Okay, WBC at that, one of the most prestigious belts. But this is the kind of money he's making. More, you got welterweights and lightweights making more money than this. Okay, so that just goes to show the kind of opponents he was fighting his whole, you know, as a champion. Okay, Chris Arreola, $1.4 million. Okay, 2016. Gerald Washington, $900,000. Okay. Bermane Stavern in rematch, $1.4 million. Okay. Luis Ortiz, he got more money for Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was a better opponent than most of the guys he fought. So naturally, you know, he had a better record, so he made more money against Luis Ortiz, $2.1 million. Tyson Fury, okay, see the difference? He got $4 million for that fight in 2018, and that's just the purse, the guaranteed money, okay? His highest guaranteed of his career was against Tyson Fury. So this is the reason why he fought Tyson Fury. Okay, Tyson Fury had a name. There was more money to be made, okay? You can sell that fight on pay-per-view and make big money because Tyson Fury had a big name and he had a big mouth as well. So here it is. We see that, you know, he got $4 million for that fight. The highest payday of his career, the highest guaranteed purse of his career up until that point, okay? And, you know, now, that's not all he made in that fight. When all the reports are in, he made about $15 million in that fight. You know, a lot from the pay-per-view purse that came in from that fight. You know, the pay-per-view made some money, so he made another, you know, $11 million on top of the $4 million that he got guaranteed. So he made about, altogether, he made about $15 million in that fight. Okay? So he made money. That was his biggest payday of his career. Okay? This is why he fought Tyson Fury. He didn't fight Tyson Fury because he felt sorry for Tyson Fury and he wanted to resurrect Tyson Fury's career. That's just, you know, foolishness. Okay? Okay, so here he had a rematch against Ruiz and got even more than he got against Ruiz in the first fight. Why was that? Why did he get $3 million as opposed to, you know, 2.5 or $2.1 million that he got the first time against Ruiz? Obviously because his profile was raised after the Tyson Fury fight, okay? So now he's getting a higher guaranteed purse because he has a higher profile, okay? And Luis Ortiz is a good opponent, Okay, he's a better opponent than most of the guys that are more accomplished opponent. Okay, so he got $3 million. He even after the Ruiz fight, he fought down Dominic Brazil and he only got $2 million because of the opponent. Again, the quality of the opponent. Okay, we see in the second fight against Fury, he got $7 million guaranteed now. His profile is much higher than it was prior to Fury, as we can see. Look at the record. 1 million, 1.4, 1.5, 1.5, 1.4, 900,000, 1.4. Now we see he's in the $3 million, $2 million. Now he made $7 million for the rematch against Tyson Fury, which is why he fought Tyson Fury again. Okay, because remember the floppy glove was in the first fight. So if you felt that he cheated in the first fight, I mean, why fight him again? Okay, so we see that again. The reason why he's fighting Tyson Fury is because of the money. It's all about the money at the end of the day. Okay, he made $7 million guaranteed, and from what we know about that fight, his purse came up to around altogether total with the pay-per-view and all the back end money. He made like $30 million in that fight. Okay, so this is the reason why he's fighting Tyson Fury, because he's making more money for fighting Tyson Fury. It's not about doing Tyson Fury a favor. Tyson Fury did him a favor at the end of the day, because he couldn't have made the kind of money with anybody else that he made against Tyson Fury except Anthony Joshua. Okay, that's the only person he could have made a. But I mean, why? The chance of him. I mean, when you look at it, let's be Tyson Fury's manager, Shelly Finkel, again, and look at the fight and say to him, "Well, listen, we got a chance to fight. We can either fight Anthony Joshua, or we can fight Tyson Fury. We can make a lot of money fighting Joshua. We can make a lot of money fighting Tyson Fury. Which one will you choose? I mean, which one will be the easier fight to win? Definitely not Joshua. You're taking a bigger chance against Joshua than against Tyson Fury, a guy who's been on drugs for 4 years or 3 years or whatever, weighing almost 400 pounds. Okay, look very, didn't look too good in his two tune-up fights when he came out. So why wouldn't you take the easier route? A la Errol Spence. Okay, take the easier route. Claiming he was taking the easier route against Sean Porter as opposed to fighting Terence Crawford. So here we see he took the route of the least resistance, the easier route. He went to fight Fury because it was on paper, it would be an easier fight. He'd probably be able to knock Fury out. Okay, I mean, that was the thinking. Knock Fury out, okay, because Fury wasn't really ready yet. Okay, and make money at the same time. Okay, that's why he fought Fury, and as opposed to fighting Joshua, even though he could have got more money for fighting Joshua, and it could have become undisputed, but it would have been a tougher fight for him. Okay, but these are the kind of moves that Shelly Finkel has been making Deontay Wilder's whole career, because I mean, I'm pretty sure Shelly Finkel had a lot to do with that. Okay, that's how he's been steering Deontay Wilder's career, against mediocre opponents, not taking any chances, basically. Okay, that's been the whole career of Deontay. I mean, remember that back in the day, Deontay Wilder had an opportunity to fight Klitschko. Okay, but he never took the opportunity. Why? Because Klitschko would be a difficult fight. Okay, and famously, Shelly Finkel said that when after Deontay Wilder won the title and people asked him about fighting Klitschko, he said, "Oh, Deontay Wilder is just a baby in the business and he's not ready for Klitschko yet." Okay, this is what Shelly Finkel said back then. Okay, so we see that Shelly Finkel has been very cautious with Deontay Wilder's career in terms of the fight he takes. Okay, and this has been going on his whole career. Okay. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was Shelly Finkel that made the decision that let's fight Tyson Fury. It's an easier way to go than fight Anthony Joshua, even though there's more money with Joshua and you can get bigger rewards, bigger chance but bigger rewards. But no, let's not take any chances. Let's fight Tyson Fury. He's he's down in the dumps, and you can probably beat him easier. And then we worry about Joshua later. So this is probably what happened. This is probably how the decision came about to fight Tyson Fury in the first place. All this talk about, you know, Tyson Fury was sitting on the couch and you decided to go over there and resurrect his career, and because he was just a nice Christian guy, it's all a bunch of crap. Okay, and people, these guys need to stop pushing that narrative because it's getting old. Okay, and nobody buys it. Okay, so it is what it is. So as we can see, again, fighting Tyson Fury has basically raised Deontay Wilder's profile to the point where now he was being talked about, you know, with the big fights like with Joshua, and you know, he was up there. Now he's up there, you know, name recognition wise. Okay, people talking about, you know, him with Joshua and making big fights, you know, with all the big boys in the heavyweight division, when previously there was no such talk. Okay, he was fighting the Spilka, the Duapas, the Molinas, the Staverns of the Gerald Washingtons, you know, barely making any money. You know, where you have welterweights and lightweights making more money than him, and this is the Deontay Wilder that ended up fighting Tyson Fury. Okay, so we see, you know, far from it that he actually raised Tyson Fury from the dead. Tyson Fury actually raised him from the dead. Okay, because before Tyson Fury, he wasn't making any money really. Okay, and so he's made, you know, in 2 fights with Tyson Fury, he's made more money than he has made in all his fights in all his whole career. Okay, and those are the facts, and the facts are right in front of your face. Okay, so all this talk, these guys over at the Ldbc and these Blue Blood Sports, all them talking all this nonsense, you know, it's just that pure nonsense. Okay, so and just as a comparison, okay, let's look at Joshua and see what his record is and how much money he's making. You know, look at the difference. Okay, Wilder, Joshua. As a matter of fact, let's look at them together. Okay, see that? 2015, Dylan White. I mean, he fought Dylan White. Okay, he made £3 million in that fight. Now, keep in mind that £3 million is like about $5 million. Okay, because the pound is more than the dollar. So you gotta, you know, when you see £3 million, you know, it's not like $3 million. It's like close to $5 million. Okay, so you can say that in his fight against Dylan White, he made $5 million. In 2015, Anthony Joshua made $1.1 million. So while Joshua was making $5 million, Deontay Wilder was making $1 million. Okay. Charles Martin, he made like $5 million, which is like close to about $6.9 million. Okay, so let's round it up at $7 million. Okay, Joshua fought Eric Molina for $1.4 million. See the difference in money? Dominic Breazeale, $4.5 million. Okay, 1.5 against Duapas for Deontay Wilder. So we can see the kind of money that Anthony Joshua was making. Okay, because he was making a lot of moves. He was, you know, unifying belts. He came out the gate very fast as a champion, as a heavyweight guy, and started, you know, making a lot of fights. He fought Klitschko. He fought a lot of guys. Parker, unified Klitschko. So he was making, you know, big moves as opposed to Deontay Wilder, who was just fighting these guys, you know, and making very little money and not really trying to unify the title at all in his whole career. He didn't try to unify against anyone. Really, he didn't try to unify against Klitschko, and Klitschko had the title. Okay, when Klitschko had all the belts. Okay, so we can look. I mean, look at the money that look at Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker. He made £20 million. This is like about $25 million. Okay, you know, 2018, Deontay Wilder made $2.1 million. Okay, while Joshua was making 25. And then look, I mean, Joshua is not just making money and fight purses. You know, we got to add in pay-per-view share, and also here he got endorsement. He made $10 million, you know, endorsement on top of his $25 million in fight purse and the 60% of the pay-per-view revenue. So he's making millions of dollars. Okay, while Deontay Wilder is making nothing. Basically, he's making, you know, featherweight money. Okay, so here you know, I guess he decided that in 2018, look, man, we got to do something about, you know, we're not making the money, and you know, we need to do something. So they decided to take the easy route against Tyson Fury, and he made his biggest payday up until that point, which is $4 million. Okay, so I mean, yeah, so this is what we are looking at, you know, with Deontay Wilder, and so now, you know, he decided to fight Fury, and he didn't work out as planned. Okay, he ended up losing his belt, get knocked out, you know, in the seventh round in the second fight. Okay, and instead of, you know, saying to himself, well, look, I mean, I got to go back to the drawing board, because, you know, you know, this whole thing about Deontay Wilder was, you know, they was talking about his right hand, you know, the right hand of God, you know, he could knock anybody out, this, that, and the other. But we all know, you know, how this plays out in the end when it comes. You know, there's been a lot of guys out here who have, you know, been in the same position, you know, depending on their power. But he took it to another level altogether. Okay, you know, I'm hearing that he was even training some of the times, didn't like to train. You know, figured that his right hand would deal with whoever steps in front of him. So he started drinking the Kool-Aid, and so we saw what happened at the end of the day. He got stopped, and he got stopped brutally by Tyson Fury, because you can't depend on one hand to always win for you. In you know, you're gonna run into a guy who your power, you know, is not gonna make a difference for you. Okay, it happens every time. Okay, so this is what happened to, you know, Deontay Wilder, and you know, this, you know, belief in the power of his right hand. When the right hand failed him, okay, he didn't know what to do. He had no backup plan. He had nothing else to fall back on, and so, you know, we all saw what happened. The rest is history. And so instead of, you know, accepting his defeat, instead of saying to himself, yeah, you know, I lost, man, I really got to get back in the gym. I got to work on some things. I need to work on my defense. I need to work on my offense. I need to, you know, work on my punch selection. Instead, he basically, you know, got seduced by the Ldbc community and all these, you know, false prophets out there talking about, you know, conspiracies, you know, to make him lose. You know, his manager, his trainer poisoning him. The referee getting paid off. It's, you know, all kind of ridiculous conspiracy theories, you know. And so now, you know, Deontay Wilder is basically a laughing stock. Okay, he turned himself into a laughing stock. You know, he has no credibility. Okay, now people just look at him as a sore loser. Okay, you know. You know, instead of getting back into the gym and doing what he was supposed to do, which what he was going to have to do anyway if he wanted to continue his career, instead he subscribed to this conspiracy theories, and now that ended up costing him the Trilogy match against Tyson Fury. Because I'm pretty sure that if he didn't resort to all of these conspiracy theories against, you know, Fury, if he would have said, well, listen, man, Fury, which he did say actually immediately after the fight, that Fury was a better man that night. He won. I'm going to get back into the gym. I'm going to work on my craft, and I'm going to come back stronger and watch out for the next fight. He didn't do that. Okay, he stayed silent for almost a year, and then when he decided to open his mouth, he started talking foolishness. And so, you know, this is the result of it. Now, Tyson Fury is getting ready to fight Anthony Joshua for the biggest payday of his career, okay, $100 million fight, and they're probably gonna have a rematch for another $100 million or even more, okay. While Deontay Wilder is left out in the cold, with, you know, him, you know, and his Ldbc and YTBC co-conspirators, okay, they out there in the, you know, left out in the cold, okay, while after sitting the sidelines, while Tyson Fury is making moves, okay, making business moves to make big money, okay? Big bucks he's going to be making. And people are saying, why don't he fight Deontay Wilder next? Why would you want to fight Deontay Wilder next? Well, you got an opportunity to make $100 million fight and maybe another $100 million in a rematch against Anthony Joshua. How is that? What kind of business sense does that make? You're going to fight a guy who say you cheated, a guy who called you a bum, A guy who say you're this, you're that. Okay, a guy who making excuses for your win, as opposed to going and fighting, a fight against Anthony Joshua, where you're gonna be making hundreds of millions of dollars, and you people think that Fury is gonna choose to fight Wilder instead, talking about he owes Wilder a favor because Wilder did a favor for him. I mean, these people are out of their damn minds, man. I mean, they have no, I mean, the ridiculousness of their arguments and their narrative is beyond belief. Okay, first they talk all this nonsense and got Tyson Fury and got Deontay Wilder, to lose his opportunity. Okay, because they're out there pushing him and telling him and pushing all these conspiracy theories. And now that he lost his opportunity, they're trying to say, Tyson Fury, I mean, they're out there calling Tyson Fury all kind of names. He's this. He have no morality. He's a cheat. He's a liar. He's this. He's that. But at the same time, excuse me. Now that Deontay Wilder's lost his opportunity, they're saying, Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder, and he should repay him by fighting him next instead of fighting Anthony Joshua next. What? I mean, why would he do something like that? A guy who's accusing him of cheating, a guy who's accusing him of being a bum, accused him, devaluing his win against him. Okay, why would you want to fight a guy like that when you can fight somebody like Anthony Joshua and make hundreds of millions of dollars? So these guys, the Ldbc guys, these blue blood sports, these fun boxings, these guys, they basically cost Deontay Wilder his opportunity. Okay, and now that Fury is making moves and moving forward, they out there crying sour grapes. Okay, and not only that, they're still telling Deontay Wilder to take it to the bitter end. These guys are out of their minds, man. Take it to the bitter end. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Okay. The only thing that Deontay Wilder needs to do right now is forget about all these guys, talking all this nonsense in his ear. Get back into the gym. Take the fight with Charles Martin like he's going to build his career back up and then come back again. That's the thing he needs to be doing instead of listening to these fools and their conspiracy theories, okay? Because that didn't get him nowhere. Okay, we see where that got him. That got him on the outside looking in while Tyson Fury is making hundreds of millions of dollars in his next fight and is going to make even more. Okay, and we're not going to see Deontay Wilder in a title match maybe 2022 if he's lucky. Okay, so this is the result of the whole conspiracy theory hoax, that's been going on. This is the result of it. This is what it has brought to Tyson. To Deontay Wilder has done nothing good for him or his career. Okay, and it is what it is. I mean, we gotta see it for what it is. Okay, now, we're gonna see what happened with Charles Martin. I mean, at the end of the day, man, just imagine if Deontay Wilder came out like I said and did what Anthony Joshua did. Accept the loss. Said that Tyson Fury was the better man at night. Like I said, he did say that immediately after the fight, but after that he got caught up in the whole conspiracy theory things, and so the rest is history. But if he had came out and said that, they probably would have had the Trilogy fight. I mean, I don't know what would have happened in that fight. Anything could have happened. Okay, maybe he could have won, maybe not, and he'd have been in that position now to fight Joshua to make hundreds of millions of dollars. But instead, he got himself lost in that whole Glovegate nonsense and all of the poison water nonsense and the referee nonsense and all of that stuff, and we see where he's at now. Okay, fighting Charles Martin. Okay, got to work his way back up anyway. Okay, so if he'd have just show some character like Anthony Joshua did, it'd have been a whole different story. Okay. And so, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So we don't know what's going to happen between the Anthony Joshua and Fury fight. We're going to see. That fight is supposed to be coming up soon. But one thing we do know is a big money fight, and these guys are going to make a lot of money. Okay, so you know, at the end of the day, when we look at Tyson Fury, from the time he came back into the boxing, he's been making a lot of smart moves. You know, money wise. You know, he signed with ESPN, got a big, you know, after his first fight, you know, with Deontay Wilder, and he did, you know, his performance in that fight. Okay, he signed with ESPN, got $100 million contract. Okay, you know, fought a couple of fights and fought Deontay again, knocked Deontay out, and now he's in a position to where he's going to be able to fight for $100 million in his next fight, okay, in one fight, not just a contract for $100 million for a couple of fights, but one fight for $100 million and maybe another, probably make even more in the next fight. So, you know, we can see the difference between Deontay Wilder's career moves and the difference in Tyson Fury's career moves. So we see that the management that's handling Tyson Fury is much better at navigating, you know, the waters than Deontay Wilder. I think that, you know, Shelley Finkel hasn't really done a good job with Deontay Wilder, okay, giving him bad advice, constantly. And, you know, the result is what we see today. You know, even this whole arbitration thing that they still pursue, they need to let that go, move on, okay? And, you know, hopefully, you know, Tyson Fury might give them an opportunity, you know, or they might get an opportunity, you know, to fight Tyson Fury again in that third fight, okay? Because as far as we know, Tyson Fury has said that he's never going to fight Deontay Wilder again. He's not going to give him an opportunity again to fight him. And so, you know, it is what it is because of everything that Deontay Wilder has said and all the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So, you know, it is what it is, people. At the end of the day, you know, Deontay Wilder really screwed everything up with, you know, with his, you know, the position he has taken, and he has nobody to blame but himself and his management. You know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, Shelley Finkel is responsible for a lot of that stuff in terms of the different moves that Deontay Wilder has been making because he's the manager, okay? And even the whole contract expiration thing, you know, from what we are hearing, it has a lot to do with Shelley Finkel. You know, he let that happen, okay? Now the next talk we're hearing is that, you know, these guys out there saying, Tyson Fury has never honored a contract in his life. And who to say he's going to honor the contract for a rematch if he wins against Anthony Joshua? Well, I think that's pretty much safe situation because one thing we do know is that Eddie Hearn is no fool. And Eddie Hearn is not going to, you know, let a contract expire, okay? He's not going to, let Anthony Joshua, you know, sign a contract that's going to be detrimental to his career. We saw that in the Andy Ruiz fight, you know, how that played out, okay? I mean, Andy Ruiz wanted to make another fight in between the fight with Joshua and the rematch with Joshua, and he couldn't do it, okay? Because they had him under an ironclad contract. There's no way he would be able to do that, okay? And so we see that Eddie Hearn is a lot more responsible than Shelley Finkel, more on the ball, and know what the hell he's doing, and he's not going to let Tyson Fury, you know, wiggle out when they rematch with Deontay with Anthony Joshua if Tyson Fury actually wins the first fight. So, you know, it's like apples and oranges. We can't compare Eddie Hearn to Shelley Finkel and the way I mean, look at the management of Anthony Joshua's career and the money he's making compared to what Deontay Wilder is doing and the management of his career and the money he has been making up until his Tyson Fury fight. We see that it's a whole big difference. You know, one guy's making multi-million-dollar fights, another guy's barely making $1 million, $1.5 million. So we see that Eddie Hearn knows what the hell he's doing. He knows how to manage a guy's career, and we saw he put Anthony Joshua on the fast track to big money and to greatness. Okay, while Shelley Finkel, you know, has been babysitting Deontay Wilder. Okay, and calling him a baby, and he's not ready for this, he's not ready for that, and not really making any moves for Deontay Wilder. So it's a two different type of management, and you know we see the results of each and how each has played out over the career of their particular fighter. Okay, so it is what it is. So at the end of the day, the next fight, you know, that Deontay Wilder is supposed to be. I mean, we don't know if it's actually going to happen, but that's what's been talked about. He's supposed to be fighting Charles Martin next, and we all know that the Anthony Joshua Fury mega fight is coming up next for those guys, and you know, sometime early this year. And so, you know, everybody's looking forward to that fight. And, you know, we'll see how everything plays out. But I think that's all I have for right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, okay, where you can get real boxing commentary instead of, you know, fanboy talk, okay? And, you know, like I said, subscribe to the channel to get the real. This is TBE Boxing. That's all I have for right now. I'm out.